Just had to make sure the microphone is on. I'm continuing my tutorial series, teaching people how to draw. I see a lot of people doing classes. I'm doing mine for free because I'm an asshole. I mean step on toes, but I'll give it away for free. As people, right now, I don't think anybody's looking at this. If you look at it, you like it, request what you want to learn how to draw. And if it's within my ability, I would try to accommodate such a thing. Okay, like, so last time I did eyes and we, got into hands, and I talked about different concepts that will aid in one's drawing. Let's talk about figures, like, and just character design in general. So it's kind of like skipping way ahead, and then we'll like go back and break it down. So you're talking about comics. As comics have become more mainstream, they are leaning more towards streamlining into animation first and foremost, and then movies, and so it's kind of like comics are the stepping stone for like other types of medium. So as comics progress, they take on the styles of animation and design. So a lot of those concepts for animation are related to back in the 80s and the 90s when I got into comics, it was like comics were like super detailed and they were this thing of their own. Now comics are more cartoony. And I say that's a good way to go. The world is changing, you gotta change with the world. So this is a character I have. And you see, working with basic shapes. So you're doing a comic book, you're gonna have to redraw the same character over and over and over 1,000 times. And I see a lot of books with these very intricate designs with characters and all this, you want to be as simple as possible. And you want to be distinctive. Like this character of mine, Sasha King, she has a very distinctive look. I gave her basic shape. She has like this triangle head, and then her body is like triangles. So you got a steep triangle going down. You got a wide triangle coming over here. We put a circle for the shoulders, triangle down right here. You could put a circle for the elbow, triangle down right here, and then the hand. So this is kind of like the skeleton for this character. And as you do more characters, you're going to come up with these. You got to build frames for them. And like I said, it's about layers. So, when we add the layers on, things become more smooth, more defined, and, give more shape to this character. So let's add this layer on. We're talking about layers, boom. I've been doing extra layers just to get more detail in. It's just a little detail, the little things that people probably wouldn't notice, but I notice that I know give extra flair to things. So let's go back on the red for a second because I want to put some red in there. So, especially after I got a character designed, and then, you draw on a scene or a pose like this, I'll put everything in place. Let's see, Sasha. Look, you get in there, even her eyebrows. She has this distinctive large eyebrows. And then, she's got this hair, this large wild afro. So we can go in here and change this color real quick. Get a nice blue in there, go in there, you know, and get really detailed in here. So you see how simple all this is. It's so simple, one would argue that anybody could do it. And really, the quality comes with experience, which gives you a certain quality and line and strokes. Because it's crazy how much time it takes to learn to master putting down lines. And like getting a certain quality of line is very important. You know. But the idea of this character is so simple, and how she's structured. One would dare to say a child could do it. It's just really basic shapes. And you put the shapes together in a creative way, and there you have it. Now we can take this red off, you see. It's starting to look more like a character, you know. And so you gotta, when it comes to drawing, which is really just the manipulation of lines and shapes to create the image of one thing of another. And you gotta understand what an image is. An image isn't always that thing exactly. And I really learned this concept from drawing things small. And it took me a while to realize that when I'm drawing something small, let me show you what I'm talking about. Say this is a road and someone's walking, you know. This is the image of a person. I didn't go in real small, and I could go in there, you know, I could, you know, especially on digital, I could make this pen, I could make the brush like as small as I want to, and go in there and put in those details and really draw a person. But it's just the concept of the image. So take that away. Nope, I went too far. Whoa, went too far. Let me go back. Sometimes you press too much. So also on my way out, you know, that's the image of a person behind Sasha. It's the image of a person. Did I really draw a person? No. I put lines together in a way that resembles a person. So that's a concept you really need to think about. Like when you're drawing, you're making images. You're not constructing anything real. It's really like the illusion of something. And I think realistic artists who can draw realism very well. You know, you probably seen this on the internet when it's someone like drew a spider or a hand or something that looks almost 3D, like it's coming off the page. They understand that what they're creating is an optical illusion using lines, shading, and just how they lay out an image. So, you know, I'll tell you before you smooth these things out, and you know, and you design the character. Now, you know, I chose triangles for Sasha. She's very angular, you know, but I don't do all my characters like that. You know, like some characters are more square. So let's go back to the red. Let's take this off. And so like another character in this story, Bloody Knuckles, let's say Tyreek. You know, he got some more square things going on. So this is more his head, you know. And we get these shapes going on. So he still got circles here. So you know, he's very angular, but he's got some round moments. But even with the chest, very simple shape. One, 2, 3, 4. Very simple shape. And you got a pec for a chest. Okay? Sometimes what you want to do is lay this all out and then go in and fill in details. And that's what it's all about, layers. So your first layer, we talked about being sketchy, being loose, just loosey-goosey, because you want to capture the entirety of what you're putting down as fast as possible. And you know, if you can capture it all down, you got a sense of imagination. You can predict with your skill level, like, okay, what is going to turn out to look like. So I was like, okay, you can say, oh, I don't like this pose, I don't like this stance, am I going to have trouble doing this or that? You know, so you can figure that out. Because you're mapping it out. You got a plan. That's why a lot of times, like, I keep notebooks on me and things of that nature. I want to plan out what things are going to look like. So I got a lot of sketchbooks and things I'm sketching out. And I might draw something 4, 5, 10 times before it hits the final product, you know. And so it's really planning out. Like, especially when you're drawing comics, you got to plan. It's not like you're not an expressive artist. You're not drawing on feeling and expressing the feeling. I mean, you are, or you're communicating. Because that's all comics is about communicating. You should be able to communicate in your panels without words. That's some real top tier stuff. But the idea is that you're kind of like a commercial artist. And so there's a lot of planning going on. You plan and you plan and you plan, and and you see what works, and you build experience, and you learn to draw panels and comic pages, and see what works for you. What are your strengths? Always lean into your strengths. Like, my strengths are character design. I'm not good at background. I can draw background. I practiced for years to learn how to draw background. So I'll learn how to do that. But I try to lean on the characters, and I'm really strong in movement and action. So I lean on the action, and build up to it. And I learned how to build up to the action using character moments and dialogue, and we're going and using the action to drive the story. It's never just action for the sake of action's sake. Even though I open a lot of my stories with action, I'm an action guy. So, like, it's martial arts, just action. Basically, at the heart, the core of everything I'm drawing is like a martial arts movie. It really is. Whether it's sci-fi or this or that, it's a martial arts movie. And then it's a western, and then it's post-apocalyptic, some dystopian future, or even romance or comedy, But at the heart, it's like, it's a martial arts movie. We might have some magic, we might have some powers. I really got into that. I really dive into the, like, choreography thing. I choreograph, like, fights. Like, sometimes I even get up out of my seat and move myself and see, oh, what would this look like in this move, and how would they block, and sometimes I wish I had a partner or person on standby that I could call, like, come over here so we could choreograph this fight scene, so I could draw it out and put it in a comic book, and things of that nature. So Tyreek here, let's get into this blue. I'm sorry. Tyreek here, he's a little triangle. What's wrong? We're on the right thing. We got the right brush. Oh, there we go. I'm sorry. Okay. He's not as triangle. He's a little more square, but he got some triangle in there. See? Like, especially if you're a beginner, you can draw all these shapes out in their entirety when you're putting it together. And then when you do your extra layers, you smooth things out. So be prepared to do that. So if you don't like drawing, like, cause I'm an impatient drawer, so I've learned to draw really, really fast. Like, and I do tone myself down to a page a day just because of stress. Because at this moment, I'm not a full time artist. I gotta go to work. I got 2 kids. So I have added stress in life that has nothing to do with art. So you know, I tone myself down to a page a day. But I could really do, like, if we're talking this sketchy stuff and putting down lines and inking without coloring, I could do that in like an hour or two. So then, if I want to color a page, let's double that. Let's say color and letter. Let's say that's another hour or two. Because depending on the lettering on the page, it might not be that much. If it's a lot of lettering, we turn it. So a completed page from sketch to ink to lettering, coloring, let's say 4 hours. So then that's like, if I do an 8 hour day, that's 2 pages a day. Now, that's me stretching that out. I could, that's kind of like giving myself a lot of space and time, 2 pages a day. That's double the average, which is a page a day. But sometimes, on a productive day, because I can draw fast with good quality, I can do twice that. I might do 2 pages in 4 hours. So that's 8 pages a day. If I'm grinding, if I'm on bullshit, if I'm like, this needs to come out, I've done that. Like in the zone, the strongest zone I ever been in, I've done 10 pages in a day. And I was really like in a flow state. And that's my goal. I don't know if people know what a flow state is, if they've ever heard that terminology. It's something used in relation to athletics a lot, but it's kind of relating to anything someone does when they are in pursuit of a skill or mastery or practicing something. You want to be the best. There's this concept of flow states. And what a flow state is when it's kind of magical. So a flow state is when, like, you're not really thinking. It's like your mind and body become one, and you're in the middle of action, and like you stop thinking, and it's just flowing through you, and it's an amazing feeling, and like you're kind of like not fully conscious in it. You're aware, but not. You're just going, and you're in the zone, and they call this a flow state. And like when you come to athletics, and athletes talk about this. This is when they pull off those amazing moves that they never practiced. The football player that jump and twist and spin and grab the ball, or the basketball player that like cross through like 3-4 people and spin into a dunk. As far as artists are concerned, these flow states is when like we get a singular focus and we create our best work. And it just pours out of us like madness, and you don't stop. You don't stop to eat, sleep, drink, breathe, piss, or shit, and you lose track of time. So it's kind of like you start working and everything's going good, and you hit this flow state, and then hours go by, and you look up and you didn't even notice. Like, if you're like, man, what happened to the day? And you turn around and look, and you got this amazing piece of work and if you'd have worked on it consciously, it probably would have took you all day or a couple days, and you really just knock this out in like an hour or two within the flow state. So me as an artist, I experienced that at a young age. So I'm always experimenting with, every time I'm sitting down, my goal is to enter that flow state because I know it's possible. And you don't want to have full control. You just kind of want to set the environment to favor you entering this flow state. sometimes that means you got to get out of your environment and go draw outside. And you got to be inventive, and you got to be spontaneous sometimes. Like, okay, I'm gonna get out the house, and sometimes I only get flow states when I'm just sketching and I'm not working on a real piece, and I'll like be going crazy in my sketch book, making amazing stuff, and that's a good thing too, because then I know that's gonna create some amazing, like, creative, original artwork. So that's the benefits of that. So here we have Tyreek. This is a character within Bloody Knuckles, along with Sasha. So when back to talking about characters, and I'll clear this slate. When you're designing characters, like I said before, like, there's nothing original in the world. Everything's been done before. If it's not being done before, everything you're thinking about that you think is so original, somebody else is thinking about it right now. There's somebody on the planet that's an artist that's doing the same thing you're doing. The only difference is, like, you're unique in your perspective in your own way. So you have a lens in which the way you see the world. Now, so what I mean is, like, you might come up with this mix of genres and think, oh, nobody's never done this before. Nobody's ever mixed boxing with aliens and blah, blah. That's sort of a comedy and a romance. It's a Juliet story. Oh, this is nobody's never done it. Somebody's doing it. Somebody probably already did it. So my advice to young artists is to understand that whether you know it or not, just because you didn't study, you need to go study, and you need to know that there is an entire history that's your style. You think you create your style is original, nobody else has ever done it. I got this original style. It's not true. There's your style has a history. Go look for that history and find out where it originated and how you got to where you are, and really be honest about your influences and things you might have seen as a kid. Even if you didn't study, maybe you saw this one cartoon, or be honest about that within yourself and learn the history of your style and what that style communicates. And your job is to contribute. You're a contributor to the history of cartooning. I got this character in Chain Gun. And so instead of triangles, this character is like circles. So it's really like, this is a heavier character. So even his nose is kind of like a circle oval situation. He's got these jagged teeth. And it's kind of like the standard way I do chest pecs. And the ripped sleeves in the shirt. It's a big boy, but he's strong, so, we're going to give him some muscles. So with this character, I did, it was more circles. And that's how I wanted to put it together, And as you're designing characters, and you're developing your style, and really just break it down to the basic shapes. And so if you're new to comics, I know we all want to make this grand story. You want to make Harry Potter, you want to make Full Metal Alchemist, you want to make the X-Men. When you're learning, make up something stupid. And my first comic that I drew, start to finish, was in one of those spiral notebooks, and it was like one that was 70, 80 pages, and I did a Sonic comic. Don't ask me where it is; it's gone. And I made an original story using the Sonic characters, and I created a couple new characters of my own in that style. And look, I was a kid at this time. This was horrible. I had to be like 9, 10, 11, somewhere in that range. And and what's Sonic? You got the circle, you got this shape, whatever that is. That's his nose, bam, bam. Sonic always looking kind of angry. His ears, spiky hair, blah, blah. You got it's very simple shapes to draw Sonic. So when you first do a comic, just for practice, nobody ever has to see it. If I was you, I would show it to everybody. Friends, family, people in school. If you do a good story, people might like it. You can sell it to kids in school. Because I came from the school of hide away, be quiet, don't show nobody your skills. And this is a thing in art. Because people worried about their work being stolen, so the idea was like, you don't show your work until it's finished and it's claimed as you, and everybody knows it's you, and when you're working, you kind of hide it. So, but nowadays with social media, ain't no hiding anything. And then posting on social media is kind of your protection, because people see this. Posting on social media is kind of like the new poor man's copyright. Just because you have evidence of, okay, I posted this on this date as soon as I created it. So if somebody posts your original idea or steal your idea, you have that evidence that the whole world can see. You can just say, look, go look on my page in the year 2006 at 3:45 p.m. You see that I posted this character that this person stole and made a series. So it's kind of like that. So there's that whole thing. But when you're starting out, show everybody what you're doing. You want to become a great artist in the public eye, and that way you'll become a working artist faster. Don't work in a hole in the basement where nobody can see and think you're going to come out, I'm the best artist ever, and then you're going to have this audience waiting on you. Build your audience as you go. Let people see you get better. Let them be a part of your journey so they'll like being a part of it. So they'll feel an attachment to you in your journey. So even when you're making shitty artwork, show everybody, post it on the internet, let it be there to see, document. I heard that from Gary Vee. Instead of creating content, when you're creating content, just document what you're doing in your process, and that's your content. So as a comic book artist, if you're trying to draw comic books, do that. That's the way to go. If you're just starting, document your entire process and post it all over the internet. And then, get some little printed zines made of what you're doing and share it with everybody in school and your neighborhood, family and friends. So by the time you get good, it's going to be known, oh, this guy, he's been drawing since. You won't be a nobody. Because a lot of times it don't matter how good you draw. You gotta have a name. You could be the best artist in the world. If nobody knows you, companies aren't gonna hire you. But if you get known in your neighborhood and you end up drawing for some school newspaper, or this is building your resume. You might get a job for somebody to make a logo or this and that. These are real jobs. Take them. Imagine you're a young kid doing this stuff. You're already ahead. So I did my little rant, showed you my little character drawings. I'm gonna stop right there. This one was kind of all over the place. I want to do more videos that are like streamlined, with like real tutorial stuff. I'm kind of all over the place, so I want to get my act together. And so if anybody ever watches this and you like what I've been saying or what I'm doing, make a request for what you want to see me draw. I did eyes and touched on hands. Maybe I'll just do that. Go through all the body parts. Then maybe this is how you draw buildings and backgrounds and this and that, yada, yada, yada. So this is me, Donnie Frank Morris, the Mad King, signing off. Later.